Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. Thank you so much for tuning in. As always, I appreciate it. So we have so many questions to get through. This is part 2 of all of the questions you asked me. So I just want to remind everyone that I had a generous donor come forward that offered to give away either a free raw channeling. If you are familiar with my raw channelings, if you are a member, you've seen me channel the raw, you know what to expect, you can get a private raw channeling. And if not, then you can get like just a private psychic reading with me, okay, where we can do tarot and look at different things. And that would be March 30th, okay? So that's like the first date I have available is March 30th. So around 6 p.m. Eastern, 3 p.m. Pacific. So put in the comments if you want to be in for that drawing to win that free reading, whether if it's with the raw or you do need to be a member to get the raw reading, because if not, it would be too strange. Like you wouldn't know what to expect or act or say or do. So if not, it would just be like a regular reading. Okay. So let's take a look at your questions. Let's get going here. Shanlin asks, when is the wedding? So we have talked about it, and in 2022, we have not set an actual date, but I'll keep you all up to date on that. Courtney asks, what is the best way to balance personal spiritual wellness with fighting for civic and social equitable change? Sometimes it seems that we can only choose one or the other for ourselves. Yeah, you don't want to choose one or the other necessarily, because you don't want to be, say, someone that just sits there and meditates all day, because that's kind of a selfish thing to do too, right? To not interact with humanity, which is why you came down. But you also don't want to be angry and upset all the time either. You know, and I do believe in such a thing as righteous anger. You know, think about that time that Jesus, you know, in Mark and Matthew, Jesus walked into the temple and he started flipping tables because they were selling things in the temple. And he had that righteous anger. And so I don't think it's always wrong to feel upset and angry with these things. When you see something, you know, that is unjust, it's okay. But what I would say is go back to your diet. And your diet is every single thing you consume. Are you getting so caught up in all of this social change that you're watching the news 24/7? You're on social media all the time. You're arguing with people. You're fighting. If you're doing that all the time, then you're lowering your vibes, and you're not going to feel well. You're not going to feel in sync with the universe. You're not going to feel at one with all. And so you have to balance it out. And I would say start your day with meditation, open your chakras. If you don't have your energies balanced, then how can you do anything, right? So, you know, before I even get out of bed, I just open up all 7 chakras. It takes me less than 5 minutes. Everybody has time to do it if you choose to take the time. You know, I do have the videos in the, you know, the membership playlist. You can see I have a whole chakra section. I mean, you do need to keep those energetic centers open and healthy. Okay. But you also need to do things in moderation. You know, it's sort of like eating junk food. You know, will eating a few potato chips or a piece of cake, you know, totally make you unhealthy and make you gain 5 pounds and destroy your diet? No, of course not. But if you keep doing it and you keep eating piece after piece after piece of cake, day after day after day, well, now you're going to be sick and you're going to have gained weight and you're not going to be happy. So anything in moderation, okay? Literally, Spirit is showing me the Temperance card, okay? So keep that in mind. Balance. It's all about balance. It doesn't have to be one or the other, but you can't make yourself live in a utopia where all you do is meditate and just say, Om. You can't do that. And you also can't be like angry and like, I just want to fight the world all the time either. You have to strike a balance. And so it's not easy. I don't think there is one formula, but I would say at the very, very least, you need to meditate every day and open up your energetic centers. Okay. Okay. So will the booster protect us from the new variant? And will we see other variants come? Oh, absolutely. It's not going to stop mutating because that's not realistic. That's not how it works, right? So we know it's going to keep mutating, unfortunately. So let's take a look though. Let's see if the booster is going to help. Because they are predicting that the Omicron is going to be the dominant variant. We'll see. I think it's going to help. I think the booster will help, but to what extent? You know, like I've told you before, the nursing homes in my area are all shut down. You can't go in, you can't visit. You know, I mean, my cat Annie's father, you know, my sister who passed her husband, and, you know, we haven't been able to see him forever. You know, and he is such a social, loving person, and it's just so heartbreaking. It's exhausting, really. It just is. It's exhausting. I don't know what else to say. So people are going to have lots of conflicted thoughts and ideas. So I think we're going to be hearing from all different scientists, organizations, governments saying this will work, this won't work. And they're going to go back and forth, back and forth. And the reason that they're wearing 5 different colored tunics is because they have all different beliefs. That's what it represents. They can't see eye to eye. So this is going to be a highly contested situation. So your question is valid. It's going to make people feel burdened and oppressed. It's going to feel really laborious and heavy. It's going to be exhausting, I think, at some point. But, you know, they will come up with something. You know, I think this is certainly a fiery topic, right? All wands are about fire and passion. But also entrepreneurship, I should say. You know, so yeah, something is going to be created, modified. It'll be figured out. And, you know, the sun's going to come out again. You know, this is the card of peace, love, and happiness, and families being together. So, you know, if you notice, it's like a husband and wife and 2 children. And so families will be able to get back together. So we got a ways to go with this. And there is no one straightforward answer because they don't know. That's the bottom line. So what I can tell you is it will be figured out. That's the best I can say. Joanne asks, if our human lives are like a simulation to advance our souls. Okay, wait, let me just think about that for a second. Okay, I wouldn't say that they're like a simulation, because I don't believe that we're living in some kind of matrix, I don't believe that stuff. So I wouldn't say that it's like a simulation. I don't know. I mean, my life is real. I don't know about your life, but my life is real. Do I have other aspects? You know, yes, my higher self is in 6th density, and there's other aspects of me doing other things, I suppose, but that's too much for me to think about, really. But her question is, why do the planets need to ascend? I don't know if a planet needs to ascend, period. I wouldn't say that they do. But what happens is, if they're inhabited by people, planets are sheer energy, and they have a consciousness. And what happens is, as they go through the process, they become lighter and lighter and lighter until they're a light planet. They're like a light being. And, you know, I think maybe the right person to ask might be Hogarth, because he has such a deep connection to the planets that he communicates with them. So you cannot ascend without the planet ascending. And so right now we're seeing, like, you know, volcanoes, hurricanes, earthquakes, all these natural disasters, fires. You know, the planet is purging itself of 3rd density. We're doing it all together because we are all one. You know, this is why I teach the law of one. We are all one. We are all connected, including the planets. We are not that different from a turtle, the sun, a planet, somebody in another universe. We really are all one. And so when you are living physically on a planet, you are all going in the same direction. Now, the people that don't go in that direction, that aren't ascending positively, they, in their next incarnation, has to go to a planet that will meet their vibrational match, right? So, you know, that's the thing. You can't live on a planet that you're not a vibrational match to. So you have to keep that in mind too. Okay. Terry asks, can I please read on love and how it expands our awareness and magnifies our gifts? So love is the highest vibration. That's what the Ra would say, right? I mean, they're from Venus, right? The planet of love. And so it's the highest vibration. And when you can feel love for everyone and everything, then you start to ascend to 4th density. You are coming from your heart chakra, your heart center. And you're coming from a place where you are able to live with compassion and to give love freely. And so because it's such a high vibration, it also makes you more intuitive. It makes you healthier. Good things start to come your way. You start to live in abundance because your energy's now up here. It's when we start to get caught up in the muck and mire of the planet and everything that's going on that it gets lowered. And then it's hard to manifest. It's hard to feel good. And so try to open your heart chakra every day. And like I always say to, the members in my classes, make your heart chakra open up so big that it's bigger than you, that you are covered in this beautiful green, emerald green light. And then start to send it out. And I do have videos on how you do that, using your hands, making the magic balls, opening up your hand chakras, all that sort of stuff. But that's where we need to be, because we're going from third to fourth density. Fourth density is our heart chakra. That's where we need to live from. Peggy asks, does the Akashic Records also talk about what our purpose is in this lifetime? Absolutely. If so, how can we find out that information? Ask your spirit guide. But basically what everybody's purpose is to raise their vibration to the highest possible. Now I think people get caught up in very earthly things, well, my vibration must be to be a teacher, a nurse, a mailman. No, that has nothing. That's your job. That's not you. Your life purpose is the same. All of our life purposes are the same. Mine is the same as yours. It's to be the best version of yourself that you can be, and to give love and to help raise the vibration of others by keeping your vibration high, by really understanding the law of one, that we are all connected and that we need to live from our heart chakra. But I do have that Meet the Spirit Guide class where I will take you step by step by step. And if you've had a reading with me, one of the things that I do with you is I get you, connected to your guide. I get the name, I get what they would represent themselves as, so you have a visual, where they're from, how you met them, all of that. And then that can help you with that class, if you're getting stuck in that class. So yeah, Akashic Records covers everything. Sharon asks, how are those in the medical community doing? I do worry about them. I do. And not just doctors and nurses. I do worry about, the people that work in the kitchens and the housekeepers, the laundry staff, everybody, administrative people, because it's not easy. It's a scary time. They have to be afraid, right? So are they still burning out, retiring early, or leaving in greater numbers? Yeah, let's take a look at them. I think we do need to be more supportive of them. Same with our teachers, but same also too with our retail. Think about who we now think is essential. People that maybe don't have PhDs. Now we're saying, oh wait, they're essential because they actually help keep me alive, because they're stocking shelves, because they have the food that I need to live, right? So we need to kind of do this paradigm shift where we're not judging people on a paycheck or on a specific job, but on how we are interdependent upon each other. So let's take a look at these folks. I know where I live, the ER is almost shut down. There is no staff. They built up this big, huge ER, right? They expanded it, renovated it, made it huge, and there's no staff. So now we have a building that's empty, basically. You're going to wait 12 or more hours, which is scary. Okay, let's take a look, Sharon. So I think, okay, so there's going to have to be some financial payouts for them. There needs to be more of a give and take, more of an exchange of money, because let's face it, they make such huge amounts. These hospitals, these CEOs that run these health insurance companies, they need to start giving some of it back to these people. But look at what the obstacle is. This is the card of action. It's an obstacle. So lack of action, lack of things happening. So nothing going on. And so that's a problem. So that tells me that once again, like in so many of my other readings, there is going to be a delay. Their strength and courage and patience is going to be tested again, because we already know it's been tested, right? Like that's That's no rocket, you don't have to be a rocket scientist or a psychic to figure that out. They've been tested. And so they need to get more support. The problem is some of them are going to leave. Their backs are turned. Some of them are waiting for their ship to come in. Some of them are waiting to hear maybe about a bonus or something good coming. But a lot of them's going to leave. And they feel beat up and battered. Like this character with the bandage on his head. But yet they persevere. People in the medical field are some of the strongest people you'll ever meet. I spent most of my adult life working in the medical field. It's not an easy field to work in. It does change you, that's for sure. And so many of us, I think, have PTSD from working in it. And not because of the patients. Not because of the patients. But because of, administrative reasons and things like that. But they're going to, persevere. But interesting, I get the Fool card. So I think for a lot of them, and I think this is really talking about the younger ones, they're going to have to take a leap of faith. They're going to have to just believe that things are going to get better. Because then look, it does. Their wishes and dreams start to come true, right? The Star card. So things do start to get better. Things become more balanced. When you look at her feet, one is in the water, one is on the earth. That represents balance. And so things will start to eventually balance themselves out. But look at how many cards I just read until I got to this. So once again, this tells me it's not happening today or tomorrow. Okay, so let me see. George asks, do the cards see a positive shift in the world's view of climate change, or do they see that last conference was all hat and no cattle? Okay, that is not a New England saying, but I like it. Okay, so let's take a look. I think it really differs from country to country. Within our country, political party to political party. But, like they say, there's no planet B. We need to take care of this planet, don't we? We need to take care of it. Okay. Let's take a peek. Interesting. So, to me, this is like a card of like innocence and purity, but it's also out of the 72 cards, the only one that only has children. And so it's really the younger people that's going to make a difference. It's the younger generation. That's what I get from this. The obstacle is that, a lot of people, and I think this is the big corporations, because it's not most of us, they're feeling victimized, like, oh, poor me. And like they have to be a martyr. And I don't buy it, but I think that's how they feel because they've been so spoiled. But new relationships will be forged. And I think that's going to be from country to country, from corporation to government, vice versa. All of that. New relationships will come out of this that will benefit all of us. And then they'll start throwing some money at it. Because some things do take money. And this is one of them. And, also it takes actual governments to do the right thing. But we also need, money. And pages, once again, are children. So now we have two cards talking about the younger generation. Even though I know so many of, all of us that are middle-aged and older, we do care. But I think a lot of them, like Greta Thunberg, they're just not going to take no for an answer. So it's going to get better. But do I suspect it's going to get worse before it gets better? I do. Unfortunately, I do. Okay, so Liz is asking something I don't know much about. So this is going to be a cold read, which is good. I actually like doing cold reads because I can't put any bias into it one way or the other. So Liz asks if I could take a look at the political situation in Venezuela. There was elections lately, and hopefully she wants her family and friends to be better off soon. So of course. So yeah, let's take a look, Liz. Let's take a look at Venezuela. because those poor people, I mean, even though I haven't kept up with them in like the last 2 weeks, you know, they've suffered, haven't they? They have certainly suffered. So Spirit, what do we need to know about Venezuela? What is going on? I feel like it's going to start to slowly get better. I feel like this was positive. I'm not feeling like it's going to be horrible, terrible. I kind of feel like there's a shift coming. Okay, so they are concerned about very earthly things, aren't they? They are very much worried about money, about people's health. You know, I think they've been hit hard in terms of lack of medical care, lack of food. You know, this is Pentacles. Pentacles deals with anything earthly, and this is where they're at. I think the people have been feeling rather betrayed, stabbed in the back. You know, things have not gone in a positive manner for them in the past. And I hate to say it, but I see a tower moment coming up for them. So that tells me not everyone's going to be happy with all of this, and that, you know, there's going to be some need for change. And there's going to be a lot of emotions. You know, the King of Cups is the king of emotions. But also, too, out of all the kings, he is sweet. He is loving. He's very nurturing, comforting, kind, all those good things. So, I mean, good things are coming, but I do see a lot of emotions. They're going to feel a bit stuck for a bit longer. They're going to feel like their hands are tied for a bit longer. But then look at this. You know, the Lover's card. There's Archangel Gabriel looking down, you know, with all that beautiful healing energy, healing the people. And then here they are in for a new beginning. Oh, and it's upside down. I don't even do upside down cards. So let's see. So it's reversed. So it may not be quite what they want, but it'll be better. That's how I would interpret it. Yes, one phase is ending, another one is beginning, but it may not be exactly the way they want it. So I would say they're heading in the correct direction, but at the same time, it's not going to be entirely what it is that they had wanted to begin with. Okay. Okay. Let me just see here. Okay, so Good Juju asks, with the new variant, how will this impact vacation travels within the U.S.? I'm thinking it's going to be okay within the U.S. I'm getting more like, with the international travel. Like, you're going to have to really rethink that. So let's take a look at traveling within the U.S. And the next question is about Omicron too. Okay, so what do we need to know about traveling within the U.S. Spirit? What do we need to know? Okay. Yeah, I guess I can't say I'm too surprised. So here we have the Page of Cups. You know, pages deliver news, right? That's what they do. And so we're going, and 2 Cups is about emotions. So this is going to be some emotional news that we're getting, okay? The obstacle is this Tower moment where it's going to be a little scary, little touch and go here and there. We're not going to feel so great about things, you know. Things may actually be shut down temporarily. I think outside the U.S., I'm not really getting within the U.S. that much. As long as you have had your shots, you have those negative tests, and you know, and you're obviously going to have to wear the masks, I think you'll be okay. But then I also get the card of staying put, not moving. I mean, and if this character was to sit up, I mean, well, he has 3 swords waiting for him. So is it wise to travel, in these next couple of months? It may not be wise to. So, listen to your own gut. Because I didn't get any cards from the government. Let me keep going out here a bit. The card of disillusionment, people not being realistic. The things inside of these cups aren't real. There's castles, fairies, baubles, ghosts. None of it's real. And so I think people have their heads like in the clouds and they're not being down to earth. But there's going to be news that we hear. So, more news is coming. I mean, we've gotten 2 pages that we're going to be hearing more and more about this. So yeah, I mean, I would be careful about booking anything that's not refundable. Okay. Okay. Maria asks, can I look into Stacy Abrams running for governor? Sure. Absolutely. Never mind looking at her, right? She's always a great one to look at. So let's take a look. Okay, so right now there's like a strategy, a plan, assessment. There's a lot of thought going into this. So that tells me that as she goes into this, race, running for governor, she is not going in blindly, that she is really thinking things through. The obstacle, wishes and dreams coming true. So she's having like a little bit of nervousness, like, oh, I don't know. This is also one of my cards for the US. And so, hopefully like her state won't flip, but let's keep going here. This is all about her forging new relationships, starting a new beginning with some new people. So she needs to bring new people into this is what I feel. That's what I believe I'm getting here. Don't keep doing what she was doing with the same people. Have a different strategy. Lots of conflicted thoughts, though, about how to do this. Lots of going back and forth. And so lots of, but I also think this is also one of the downsides of being an intelligent person, right? You have conflicted thoughts. You overthink, you overanalyze. And so I think she's very much in her head, but I also see her getting some pretty big donors. This is big money. And so I do see her getting some really good backers for this. So, and then I see her, celebrating a milestone. So I think it looks pretty positive, but it's not going to be without its challenges either. She has a ways to go here with all of this. Okay. So let me finish up with the 3-card spread. These are Archangel cards. And for this one, think about a particular situation. Like whatever is like on your mind the most, whatever has been like, in the forefront of your thoughts, go with that. Think about that. Take a deep breath, center yourself, and then ask yourself, which card are you most drawn to? 1, 2, or 3? Okay, here we go. Card 1, 9 of Gabriel. Stay determined and move forward. Be prepared for any possibility. Environmental activism. So if you're someone who cares deeply about the planet, this could be the time to take action. But this is also a card of moving forward, not just being stagnant. So if you feel like you've been procrastinating, like you've hit some kind of plateau, this is time to push past it. Number 2, 10 of Michael. A situation has ended and you are finally free. New opportunities for happiness will now follow. Put the past behind you. Sometimes we dwell so much on the past that we can't move forward. And so, put the past behind you so those new opportunities can come in. Keep your thoughts focused on what you want and not on what you don't want, right? Because thoughts become things. And lastly, 8 of Raphael. There is something better waiting for you. So don't settle, okay? That's what I get out of that. Don't just settle, and don't get, down in the dumps because you're like, oh, this is like all the universe has to offer. No, of course not. Do what you know is right for you, right? Listen to that gut instinct. A spiritual quest. Go within. Be reflective, meditative, introspective, okay? All right, everyone. It was a pleasure making this video, and I will see you again in a few days. Bye, everyone.